What is up, folks at home? Welcome back to the channel. It is summertime and it is one of my favorite times to fish big worms. You guessed it. Today we're going to talk about how I fish big worms, where I fish big worms, and how we're going to target those fish with bigger than average soft plastic. So guys, when we are fishing big soft plastics, worms, and swim baits, we really want to focus on baits that are going to match kind of the overall forage of the lake. If I'm fishing a lake where there are a lot of gizzard shad, I'm throwing the 6th Sense Panorama. This is the 6.5 inch Panorama right here, and what I like about this bait is it's got that slow dying bait fish profile. This is an extremely visual bait. You're not going to get a ton of action with this bait Texas rigged, but dying shad also don't have a lot of action. It has that nice sinuous fall. This is on a 3/8 ounce Texas rig, unpegged because I want it to have that slower fall. I don't want to peg this. This is the exact cover that I want to fish it into. The long stringy grass, scattered sand spots, things like that, where this bait is going to excel. Fish sit on this stuff, and they're going to inhale this bait on the way down. You're going to get a lot of big bites throwing this bait in this way. Now, it's not going to work everywhere, but where that is bait fish dependent, it's going to work great. Up next, you have the Rage Thumper Worm in 10.5 inches. I'm throwing this on a Strike King Mag shaky head. I really like this bait on a shaky head. I feel like it gives it a better action, and it really connects that bait with the bottom. This bait is fantastic on sand spots. It's a big worm, but it kind of doesn't fish like a big worm. It's very skinny, if you will. It has a better action on a shaky head than on the Texas rig, in my opinion. If you're going to swim it, put it on the Texas rig. If you're going to really focus it on the bottom, put it on the shaky head. This bait has a nice kick. It comes through cover well. I really love Rage products. If you know and follow the channel, you know that I fish a ton of Rage products because I believe in them. They just get bit. I really like this one in Green Pumpkin Black Flake. It looks very natural. It kind of looks like a leech or a snake. Don't be afraid to throw the 10-inch version of the worm, right? It's got a big kick on it. It's got a big thump. It does really, really well on deep structure in that 20 to 25 foot range. Fish will come up and inhale this bait. It also does really good up under docks, right? Fish tend to hit this bait on the head for whatever reason, so you can catch them up under docks, and you can catch smaller than average fish. Next up is the 6th Sense Divine Mag Shaky Head Worm. This is quickly becoming my favorite big worm. It's got a neutral buoyancy to a floating buoyancy, as you can see. That worm holds itself up and shakes brilliantly. Now, the thing I love about this worm is the fact that without any modifications, it's going to stand up on the bottom. Think of it as a giant Ned rig, right? And this action is incredible. I really enjoy this action under docks and on sand spots. It's going to call fish into it. Plus, it's a big profile, right? I'm fishing all of these baits on a 3/8 ounce bullet weight by Woo Tungsten with a 7/0 Berkley Fusion hook, right? I like the fusion hooks on these worms because when you put the steel to a fish on a big worm, you really want to punch through there. Those fusion hooks come through there, no problem. Next up here, we have the Bass Pro Shops Ribbon Tail Worm in 10 inch. The 10 inch ribbon tail worm is a bite getter. All kinds of fish will bite this worm. You can throw it on a Texas rig, you can throw it on a shaky head, you can throw it on a Carolina rig. It excels on hard spots and coming through sparse vegetation like that. This is my cover water worm. When I'm trying to find them in the summer, when I'm checking those transition spots, the ribbon tail worm often gets the call. I like it in the plum and red colors. Here's the red color. It looks really good underwater. It has a ton of action, really does the job for me in terms of being a search bait. A lot of guys have gotten away from throwing ribbon tail worms. That's a mistake because ribbon tail worms are bite getters. There's a reason why the ribbon tail worm is the first worm a lot of us put in our tackle bag. There's a reason why ribbon tail worms are still being sold at every store that you go to. They get bites. They've kind of been overshadowed by a lot of other baits in the game, but a simple Texas rig on a ribbon tail will get you bites. Alright guys, so let's go to Omnia here to check out how and where I'm going to throw these worms. Number one, the first thing I want to do to Omnia when I go to the app is turn on my social vegetation, and automatically I'm going to see areas where these big soft plastics, worms, swim baits are going to work. Number one, I want to look at these offshore areas where grass is present. You see here we have an offshore hump that starts at about 20 feet with vegetation all the way up into 9. Chances are on these spots they're going to be hard spots. There's going to be areas where the vegetation is clear and you're able to really target these. Fish this time of the year when the water's hot are going to sit on these edges and ambush out. I like to fish this whole thing, then I'm going to cut through right here and fish kind of the lanes until I can find a hard spot. A lot of scanning too goes into this. I'm going to look at these other humps and areas. Wawasee is notorious for having a lot of offshore structure. Here we have basically competing points, right? If we then change to bottom hardness and find these hard spots, right here is going to be a magnet for fish. There's going to be a ton of fish that sit up on this point right here on these hard spots in these veins. This is a great spot to throw big soft plastic worms, drag them on Carolina rigs or Texas rigs through there. Those are areas that I'm looking for to find. The other areas that I'm looking to find are those areas that are basically staging areas where fish are going to trap, bait, and sit a lot. And what I'm looking for here are kind of these channels, right? Here is a major staging area right here where bait fish are going to move through. This is from a big pocket back into the main body of the lake. Right here, this whole channel is going to be loaded with bait fish. Now I want to seek through these channels, a Carolina rig, a Texas rig, and really kind of work these edges until I can find where the fish are in relation to that. Anywhere where deep water gets close to being by the shallows is also going to be good. If you look here on the north side of Wawasee, you have all of these shallow areas, right? What I want to look at here are transition zones where that deep water gets close. Here we see this pocket where deep water is coming close into those pockets. That's a good place to look right there. If we transition up this way into Syracuse Lake, right, there's another good example of a transition area where deep water and shallow water meet. This whole edge right here where it goes from 2 feet to 18 feet is a solid edge to check with those big worms. Guys, hope you enjoyed learning about how we fish those big worms underwater. It can really be an awesome bite, and you can use them in multiple places. You can use them up under the docks where those fish get up under there and they're eating big bait fish, big bluegill, things like that. You can use them out deep when the lake is, grenaded from all these boats and all this boat traffic. You can catch a lot of fish throwing a bigger than average worm because it's about showing the fish things that they have not seen yet. If you guys enjoy what's going on the channel, give us a like, subscribe. Hit up all the links, buy our gear from Omnia, help support the channel, give us a like, subscribe, comment what you want to see in the future. We'll see you out there next time.